Welcome to Beauty Flip. I'm Edda Coscioni, here to show ordinary humans just what's so spectacular about them. Today, we take a look at that uneven playing field. And now that we know how our brain is just interpreting what it thinks it knows, we flip that script. Here we are. We're actually kind of like right at the beginning again. For some of you who are joining, you might not realize that I've taken everyone on a lovely little journey about so many things. We have looked at great thinkers, and we have looked at neuroscience, and we have looked at psychology, and we have looked at what is the societal question of what I call this uneven playing field, what calls all of us to compete against each other, ultimately trying to find ways to have more prestige, find more ways to have more money, more power. This, in its entirety, is at the very opposite call of what I am asking people to do, which is to deeply look beyond this uneven playing field and the mindfuck math that we all need to do in order to stay on the uneven playing field, and to look deeply at the secret that is buried within you, buried within me, buried within all of us. The secret of what makes you so beautiful. Yes. See, let's just take a look at a quote by Marianne Williamson. And in this quote, Marianne Williamson says, "Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate," which would be, by the way, the call of the uneven playing field. "Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure." She goes on to say, "It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us." What if, my lovely little human beings, what if it is just as straightforward as turning towards ourselves and listening, deeply listening to what's more in our heart, willingness to calm ourselves so that we can actually hear what our body needs to tell us, and potentially turning off the things that we filter out in our brain that sits in a black box. Oopsie. Yeah, so if you were listening to last week's episode, it turns out that we don't even know what's real. And maybe even perhaps to some degree what I'm inviting you to is just another version of an unreal reality. But sure sounds like a fun one to me, and I know I personally enjoy it because I feel more at home. What if the whole uneven playing field was built by people whose biases were perhaps focused on the wrong things, that the way that they interpreted the world and the ways that they filtered out things disallowed for very important critical data to be filtered in. And now we have an opportunity to refilter, or maybe as Adrienne Marie Brown would say, to reimagine a world different. I am inviting you to see what is so goddamn beautiful about you, not as an invitation because I'm some sort of little positive thinker. No, in fact, I think of myself as pretty pragmatic. This uneven playing field is not pragmatic. It does not serve. It does not serve you. If anything, it causes you to turn against yourself day in and day out. It causes you to turn against other people, to become perhaps someone that you would never want in your sort of conscious mind to think that you would be. But when you are filtering out data and filtering in only ways to move up on the uneven playing field or stay ahead on the uneven playing field, before you know it, you will filter out data about people and how they potentially are trying to act or be with you and you will filter in mean thoughts and unkind gestures. It is why in our society, at a very insane rate, bullying and mean girl behavior is so prevalent. We live in a world where mean behavior, hurtful things are now accepted at all times. We could all sit here and get on our moral high horses and say how disgusted we are. But truthfully, I'm just saying it's not pragmatic. That's what I'm saying. Because the truth of the matter is all of that mean girl behavior, all of the craziness of what is happening to our world is built on this very uneven playing field that truthfully never, ever has a place where you could just stop and rest and know that you have completed the work that you needed to do so that you could feel at home in your body. I'm saying, find a way to be at home in your body. Find a way to be in connection with Divine Spirit. Find a way to take your little brain that's in a black box and shift its filtering systems and its perception with intent to create a new way of being. As Adrienne Maree Brown would say, we live in a world that someone else imagined. And last week's episode showed you that indeed that is true. Because truthfully, all we can do is take in things that we perceive through our senses that create electrical impulses, and then those electrical impulses are interpreted. Oh my God, our whole world has just been interpreted by somebody else and I'm just following the rules. Now, I am not saying let's all suddenly just like break all the rules and go randomly running around doing, chaotic things. No, I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying, what if we just actually look at, is it working? I would say, not really. No. Most people struggle day in and day out. You may not even realize it's a struggle because like a fish to water, it feels normal. The call that I'm trying to have everybody see is what we think being a good citizen and potentially what it takes in order to move forward in our society. Yes, and to some degree that is true, and to another degree not at all. Because yes, those are the rules by which we are all asked to play, so that part is true. But I'm saying no, because there is a far cooler thing that is being proposed to you. You will have to continue to some degree or another living in this society. Unless you move, that's okay, you can move. But now you know the game. And now you know, maybe I'm not going to play it that way. And maybe I change my mindset. Remember what I said last week. Change your mind, change your world. Change the way you decide to start perceiving things. Change the idea that for 1 second you are irrelevant, and make it that you are actually so relevant, that you are so powerful. Not just me saying this, this is just actually true. That if you really started to own what is powerful about you and started to create things in that perspective, you would shift the world. Even if it was for you and the people in your bubble, that would be a shift. And perhaps if all of us start coming online and really seeing what is so beautiful about you. And I'm not talking about the things that we call beauty today, because unfortunately, those are just, if you will, and really to some degree really are, a plastic-sized version of beauty. In all of my years of being a coach, in all of my years of being a hairdresser, makeup artist, working on commercials, working with celebrities, in all of my years being around people living in a very rich town and seeing wealth and beauty as we are describing it, there's one thing I know. that that ain't it. Emphatically, I have seen over and over and over again that when people tap into the very beautiful power of who they are, they discover that there is something far more vast than the uneven playing field. So at one level, the invitation that I'm inviting you to is to kind of rejigger your own little brain's inputs and filtering out system, with the intent of deciding what is the world that you imagine it to be. I am asking you perhaps to see that if you choose to live in the world that I see, that maybe you will discover that you are infinitely more beautiful, and your beauty comes from a place that is so organically you. And in truth, never needs makeup, hair, clothing in any way to make you relevant. That you don't need to have certain things, jobs, prestige, etc., followers, likes, in order to be relevant. You are relevant just by being here. Oh, yes, you are. And truthfully, far more relevant and far more powerful than you probably can imagine. And so much so that really our bias, our collective bias, ultimately tries to dumb us down and has a perspective that keeps us focused on something that is actually probably to some degree irrelevant. Now, I'm not asking you, to drop out of society. I don't know, you could. That might be your version of being able to flip your script. That's great. What I am saying is open your eyes and see that so much of what you are being invited to every single day is just a game. It's just a game. And most of the rules were made up by people who actually don't understand you, don't care about you, and actually see you, and here's the big one, as a commodity. That you are seen as only, truthfully, a commodity. You are sold that if you do all these things that maybe you will then finally become relevant. But that is just a bill of goods that you have bought. In truth, to some degree or another, what you are trying so hard to do when you are getting up and playing on that uneven playing field is you are trying to break through the objectification that you feel. You're trying to be like, see me for who I am. The levels of which you feel sometimes dehumanized. Oh, no, I matter too. I matter too. The levels of which maybe you are considered an instrument for other people's outcomes and goods. And to some degree, maybe not all of us, but certainly a number of us, the levels in which we feel exploited. The call that you didn't even realize that you are trying to answer every single time you suit up to go on to this uneven playing field is, oh my gosh, you are trying to actually just find your place where you, I've been saying relevant, but maybe where you're asking to be treated like other humans. These places where you have felt objectified and potentially dehumanized, and for some people truly exploited. All of us feel the drumbeat, and all of us earnestly suit up, and all of us to some degree or another think, if we play by the rules, that we will finally land somewhere that is a place we can call home. Unfortunately, one of the rules you don't even know is that there is no winning this game. There is no winning on the uneven playing field, not even for those who look like they're winning, because the uneven playing field is built like a house of cards, and at any time can be torn down, fall apart. Wind too gusty, blows it over. We all see it. We see people getting torn down left and right on our uneven playing field. Far too much power, far too much prestige. People start hunting how to tear them down. I am just encouraging you, please know the rules. B, internally and in your own little bubble, begin a new drumbeat. Begin defiantly learning how to like and then maybe love yourself, love your body, love your unique perspective, the things that you see, you know are real, that you understand in the core of you matter. In my invitation, I'm asking you, flip these scripts, flip the script of the uneven playing field. Get that it is unfortunately what we are asked to do every day, but don't take it for real. Play the game, do the things you need to do, but internally know that you already matter, that you matter far more than anyone will ever acknowledge you. Not in a narcissistic or sociopathic way. No. Because here's the other thing. We all matter. So when you begin to develop the deep connection with yourself, know that when you see anyone else, that they matter too. And no one's voice is any more important than another. The invitation that I'm inviting you to is to play on the field. I'm so sorry, the field just doesn't go away, but to stop the mindfuck math. Stop it. So ridiculous. Doesn't get you any farther. Really doesn't work. To know that yes, here you are, you're suiting up, you got to do the thing. But to find a new way to input into your brain that sits in a black box, giving it new data. Like I said before, to be curious about you, curious about your body. You have been given infinite amounts of prescriptive ways to live your life that are based on a patriarchal system that has a drumbeat of telling you how thin you need to be, how you need to dress, what is considered actually important, and what is important really is youth, and then a certain size and a certain hair color and a certain other way of being. You are to be kind and good and polite, not because these are nice human values, but because you are not to affect the system. And potentially you are not to listen to yourself at all. And I'm saying, hey, let's have a party. Let's listen to ourselves. Let's really mess this thing up by choosing to matter to ourselves. Wow. So in this invitation, you still might have to be, if you will, like Ginger Rogers. You know, Ginger Rogers and Fred Astaire, that duo of a dance team that we used to watch in all of those magnificent Hollywood movies. And you might need to be the Ginger Rogers, who did everything that Fred Astaire did, but she did it backwards and in high heels. Yep, that might be your call. And you might need to notice that in order for anyone to listen to you, you might need to do it 10 times better and in far more of a kinder and diplomatic voice, and never showing you're sweating. But know internally, you are so fabulously beautiful, and you feed your mind and you feed your body with things that allow for you to breathe freely and feel the love that lives within you, and invite people to step up and feel their power too, not to tear down. In the face of mean girl behavior, which, oh my gosh, we're all mean girls. Ugh, I hate to say it. You drop the mean girl act. You give people a hand up. If there is one thing that is just the absolute damned truth of what is happening, we see it everywhere. Every aspect of our society right now is tearing people down in order to have some relevant choice. It is now starting at ages so young, middle school. We're talking like 10, 11-year-olds bullying people. And we are so at odds with how to handle it. But we have forgotten that handling it means that we just call out the injustices. So here's the dealio. You kind of now know what is the playing field. And I'm going to give you one more piece to this puzzle. See, no one else can create your experience. If there's one thing we all have, it is free will. And at every moment, you and I and each of us around us get to choose. And this is such a powerful aspect of who you are, who I am. And I'm inviting you to choose differently. Adrienne Marie would say, choose a new world, imagine a new world. And Marianne Williamson would say, choose to see what is so beautiful about the light within you. It is time for us to choose differently, to turn our backs on this uneven playing field. Maybe you have to go and suit up, but to know that it is just the game. And even though you're wearing high heels and you're doing it backwards, while Fred Astaire gets to do it forwards, know that you are infinitely powerful, infinitely beautiful. Your body does not need anything in order for it to be considered beautiful. You, the very nature of you being alive, are the butterfly. You are breaking through. You have the opportunity to perhaps uniquely see the things that are around you. And like Einstein, find new ways to create and solve these problems. You goddamn beautiful woman, you goddamn beautiful man, you goddamn beautiful person. Start there, knowing that you are beautiful, knowing that you infinitely, deeply have, if you will, a map within you that is written into your DNA, into your very body, and with partnership of divine spark or higher self, can reorient to the bias that your mind has oriented to create the new world and flip the script. Thank you for joining this episode of Beauty Flip. I hope you're excited because now we really understand what we can do to have a spectacular life. See you next week.